Need for Speed Heat has added a whole bunch of new awesome things like the return of Ferrari with customization. But in today's topic, I wanted to talk about something that I'm a little bit uneasy about, and it's obviously becoming more and more obvious as we unlock new cars in Need for Speed Heat Studio. As we keep going through, for example, if I take my absolute dream Japanese automobile, it is the R34 GTI. I have one of these, and there's so much I want to do to this car. But in Need for Speed, this is usually my testing ground for this type of... I can play around and see what I want to do. Essentially, in Need for Speed Heat Studio, you can clearly see that there is basically nothing new. It's all the same stuff that was in Need for Speed Payback and also Need for Speed 2015. Now, granted, the one thing that Need for Speed Payback brought to the game is that you could swap around with body parts. For example, you could have Rocket Bunny front end, for example, and Liberty Walk rear end. You could mix and match whatever you wanted. This was already present in the previous game, and people know this. And obviously with this game, it's the same again. There is literally nothing for this car, except for the fact it has different new wings, maybe. That's about it. In my speculation and also wish list videos, I've already spoken about what I would like to see added to the customization mix. There's a whole bunch of things I could do. I could spend all day listing what I would like them to do for this. For example, I could say, oh, I want them to customize the rear end and put NOS bottles in the car when I get NOS and all this. But this stuff takes valuable effort and time. And realistically, the cars drive hopefully great. From what we've seen, they drive great. But let's dive into what I would like to see. Some more realistic things that they could do with less resource. In Photoshop, I'm literally adjusting right here the window tint color. Super easy. Right now, it can be done by a sticker, but this simple option would make so many more people do it. You've got a slider for adding tint. Well, how about you add an option to do a color picker? Easy. The vinyl editor, we already have much more vinyl options compared to rival games. How about you keep going forward with that? Keep punching high. It's how AMD is smashing Intel. Vinyls on tires, vinyls on wheels. Let us put those Nismo stickers on. If it's not a Nismo car, we can do it anyway. Let's put them M stickers on the wheels when it's not an M car. As you may or may not know, there are different colored lights, kind of lens hoods that we can put on our lights. Well, how about you give us the option to just give us the color picker? If you give us a color picker, we can just pick. Just like the windows, we just pick whatever we want. Any color combination possible would be possible. My general idea is to make use of things they already have, but twist them to work a little bit better, customization wise. For a prime example of this, what they've done with this current game is add the ability to adjust some sliders to change the sound of the exhaust. Now, this is repurposing content that was already there. It just makes it more accessible and usable. In 2015, the exhaust you had on changed the sound of it. Now, which wasn't a great system because you had to basically get rid of the good one if you wanted to. Essentially, it's repurposed it. It's made it useful because you can have a maxed out car, you can have this certain looking exhaust tip, and you can have this beautiful exhaust note along top of it, whatever you're choosing. On the Need for Speed spoilers, they've got so many variants of end plates. Why not have the option, for example, of changing the end plates or removing them completely? Just, it's not auto sculpt, but it's pretty darn cool. But don't get me wrong, I don't want to sit here and say that they haven't done anything towards this, because that would be straight up lying. This, my friends, this game has added a lot in terms of that type of thing, in terms of new menus and stuff. We talked about the exhausts already. We have so many more types of tire now. If you go through the options, my gravy, there is a lot of them, and obviously these are brought in from different specs of car. You get off-road tires on a street racing car if you want it to look like an off-roader, but it performs like a street, because the performance option is still the street race tire. You can still put off-road tires on, you can put drag tires on, you can do whatever you want. A million times better paint system. We've already seen how crazy you get with this paint system. We've got the multicolors like the RCF used to be. Neons are easier to access. Bags are easier to access. All the vanity items have been recategorized and made so that you just buy them, I believe. And also there's new wings. That's something to write home about. New wings. I'll take new wings. But as I said, they need to make use of more of the menus they've already got in place, or the new systems that they could use. Color pickers need to be absolutely everywhere. Let me color the exhaust tips. Let me get the burnt tips on all the exhausts as an option. Like, that would be so awesome. But here's why it's a problem to me. Now, I know how game development works. They get a budget, and essentially they have to pinpoint where this budget goes throughout where they're going to spend the most money. Now, they've got a lot of cars. They already did a decent amount of cars. They've now increased that car list hugely by rehashing content and using the performance versions of cars that you can't customize, which I find quite silly, frankly. I think you should just replace it with the new one, or if there's too much change, then have the two, but no, both of them should have customization options. Anyway, we won't dive into that. Character customization is something I've wanted in Need for Speed for a long time. It fits very, very well because it gives you that more personal feel. But it's not that great. You can't change the face. There's 20 characters you can pick from, which is sure more than most other racing games do. But when you have FIFA in your category of games, surely you can take the editor from those sports games and have the face reconstruction. Just a little bit more detail. A little bit more, maybe for the next game, right? Maybe for the next game. But the resources were spent. The money was spent on this character creator when the money could have been spent on more vehicle staff or more customization. I'm assuming the vehicle staff and the customization staff are the same people, but essentially I would love to see some more things, as I've said. Some extra little bits, even if it's just using content you already have, but making it have more purpose. Bigger end plates on the options for a tiny little wing. That would be cool. Why not? Final editor in every place you can possibly think of. Sure, they did the paint, which is I'm super grateful for in terms of visual stuff, but wheeled stickers, it would be cool, man. I think in general, it would be really nice to see some more love put into the older cars. I know that I'm not the only one in this. I know most people play like this, and I'm pretty sure your stats will back this up, Ghost, that if you look into what cars people play with, for the most part, they will play with the new cars. Yes, that will be the first things that people buy. Yes, they will buy the new cars and try them. But you will no doubt know that when people have played with the new toys, they always go back to their favorites. Okay? And everyone's favorites are different. No, obviously, that's just how it is. But in terms of favorites, that for me is my R34 GTR. We play Need for Speed differently. Whereas Forza and Gran Turismo and everything, I don't bother buying my favorite cars because I know full well I'm not going to invest the time and effort into those cars because I can just upgrade them instantly and have nothing else to progress with. But in Need for Speed and The Crew, for example, in these games, the arcade racing games, the more arcade racing games, I, for some reason, just, like most, elevate back to my absolute favorites. And this is something I've always done. Need for Speed 2015, Need for Speed Payback, and next to Need for Speed Heat, I'm going to use the Skyline for the most part. And I think most people are like that too. And if I'm wrong, please call me out on that. I would love to know your thoughts. Big picture wise, this is a very small thing to complain about. There's a lot of things that could have gone wrong. For example, with 2015, the handling just was not acceptable. It was not acceptable for someone that's jumping into the game. It's the biggest turn off of the game. And unless you played a lot of it, it was really not drivable. Need for Speed Payback, the story just looked really bad. We don't know too much about the story in the current game, but Payback story, just the characters, nothing, the atmosphere, everything just felt a little bit off. Something about that game just feels like there wasn't as much love put into it as there was in 2015. It was very, very bizarre, the feeling of the game. I can't really explain it, but if you think, you'll totally understand what I mean. Need for Speed Heat seems like a proper successor to 2015, the next level of 2015, but with better handling, and we can actually grip now. Hallelujah. There's so many things that we need to properly delve into. We can't probably dive into until the actual game is out, but this is my pre-release thoughts, literally based on the fact they kind of shot themselves in the foot with this. They released an app to let us customize our cars early, which, to be fair, hands up, that's a great thing to do because we get an idea of what the customization is going to be like, and we can't drive them until we get into the game, so at least we know what the customization is going to be like on the cars that normally we won't be able to customize until we get it, and then we go, oh, actually, yeah, there's not much customization there, is there? So no, big props for that. Thanks for not kicking us in the teeth once more, Ghost. But yeah, that is my main issue with Need for Speed Heat, the customization on the old cars. And just in general, not reusing bits that they could definitely make more use of, if that makes any sense. Like, to me, it just sounds like the obvious thing to do. It's easy to reuse content to make it even newer and better. Anyway, let me know if you agree, if you disagree. What are you most worried about with Need for Speed Heat? We've spoken a lot about positives on this channel, so I wanted to mix it up a little bit. Everything seems to be positive because so far I'm very, very, very excited, but always with Need for Speed Heat Studio, we're kind of getting an idea that customization has taken a back seat on this one. In a way, kinda. Be sure to smash like, subscribe if you are new, and I will see you in the next video. Until next time, peace.